right. So anyone can be marginalized by almost anything. All right. And we don't marginalize ourselves. People with small minds and limited thinking marginalize us. Okay. And they can marginalize someone for race,
Mhm.
ethnicity,
Mhm.
income, where you live, what you drive, your sexual orientation or identification, where you went to school. It could be anything that makes someone look belittle a person or
Yeah.
place them at a disadvantage. So I'm glad you asked that question, because one of the questions I ask every presenter that comes to our group, and we've had over 27 now, I think 28 now,
Nice.
uh, is, have you ever been marginalized? If so, how? And Carla, when you hear how people say they were marginalized, some people because of a disability, I walk with a
Mhm.
cane. A beautiful, and I say this, beautiful white woman with blonde hair, right? Because this looks like the epitome of privilege, right? I'm beautiful,
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm. Mhm.
educated. And she says, Dennett, I was marginalized because they told me to shut up in the workplace, the men, right? So
Yeah.
she was marginalized as a woman. A young white male from the Marines, he says he was marginalized because he was a Marine and he was a white male and looked good. And so people thought, you're privileged. I don't
Yeah.
need to help you. You don't need assistance. But he's like,
He
I was
did, but he
marginalized.
did.
Yes.
Yeah. You could be
You know,
marginalized in so many ways.
in
Yes.
so many ways.
The
Yes.
the person could be beautiful or
And
everything looks put together and they're having
yes.
a hard time. So
hmm
marginalized is really being judged.
Yes.
Is
And I
being
love that.
judged
Yes. It's
before
that people,
before
yes.
you know. Yeah. Before you know the person, you
hmm
judge the person.
Yes.
We all are born with this bias. When I
hmm
say born, because of the, not necessarily that we're born, but when we're being raised and you're familiar, we get familiar with an environment, and that environment could be all girls. That environment could be all males. It could be all white, all black, or yellow, or blue. It doesn't matter. And then when you find yourself in another environment, or someone comes into your environment that is not of the same, then you can only imagine what the brain does. I said, what, there is something different about this person. And once that statement is made, then this is where you have to be intentional and to add, the person is different, yet I'm going to take the time to learn about the person. I'm going to take the time to understand the person of who they are. And you could be marginalized, like you're saying, based on what you do. Uh, Mine, from my background in engineering, it could be, well, wait a minute, you're a woman in a male's job, and so what are you doing here? And that happened quite often because of that. So, but thank God I had a mom that placed a good confidence in me. So to me, it was like, I'm coming to take over this place. Yeah, what are you talking about?
I love it.
I'm not saying, it's important though that you're right. This is something that needs to be discussed because we all do it. We all do it, whether it's intentional or non-intentional, malice or non-malice. There is that space where we all, with all the girls coming together, and let's say a male come in, and what will we say?
Mhm.
Will we say, "Come in, hey, come and join us"? Well, I think girls most likely would say, yeah, most likely. But the other way, maybe not so fast. So it's important what you're sharing. Definitely.
Thank you. Yeah, and so we want to be a safe space for everyone.
Hmm.
So everyone is welcome in our group. I'm very mindful of Black Lives Matter is now, and I'm very mindful that I don't want to marginalize anyone in our group by holding my fist and touting Black Lives Matter in our group. Now, what I do personally has nothing to do with what we're doing in the group, right? And so
Hmm.
it's a fine line, right? Because I don't want anyone to feel like I'm in a space where I'm not comfortable. If we're saying we're helping marginalized people, and that could happen. We could say we're marginalized, and so we're better than any. You came in here, you're not marginalized, or I don't see you marginalized. So and we don't do that. I'm very happy that we've created a safe space, and so we have. One of the things I say is we've been. So I started the group on the 26th of April. we've not had any disagreement in the group. Like there's never
Love
been
it.
any disrespect on the wall. Nothing. Everyone is very cordial.
Just trying
Everyone
to
wants
be
to help each
support each
other.
other.
Yes. And I
Nice.
love that. We also are, we're very, very deliberate with teaching our members how to be more inclusive. We want to be inclusive of everyone. So we have quite a few people who have come to talk to us, and in the month of September, more are going to come about creating an inclusive society. How can we be more inclusive by thinking different, by seeing people differently? And because we definitely, there's something, I'm sure I marginalized someone in my life, right? I know
Yes.
I did. I don't want to do that again, right?
Yes, all of us have to be we have to be intentional. I mean, even with the, like when you mentioned Black Lives Matters, right?
Mhm.
There are so many, already you can see the bias kicking in. Ding,
Yes.
ding, 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 ding.
Yes.
But what it takes is really study.
Mhm.
But before you can study, you have to be intentional about studying.
Yes.
And so this is where a lot of times, and to have that intention to study, it takes effort, it takes energy. And then for you see
No,
what I'm
I
going
see
with
where
this.
you're going. Yeah.
It's work. At the
Yeah,
end of
it
the
is
day,
work.
it's work.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easier for the brain. The brain is always going to take the shortest route. So it's
Yes.
easier to say Black Lives Matter, blah, blah. But even in that statement in itself, what I share with others is it's three segments to that. You have
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter group.
Yeah.
You have Black Lives Matter movement.
Mhm.
And then you have Black Lives Matter as a statement.
Yeah.
And so which one are you upset with, understand,
Mm-hmm.
connecting with, or do you see all three the same? And it may not all three be the same,
Yes.
but it's because of how we're thinking,
Mm-hmm.
of how, especially a lot of times what's been portrayed to us through the news, through someone other. And this is where self-study is so important, so
Yes.
that you can know, okay, I know, Dennett told me this is what this means. This pastor might have told me what this means, my coworker, but how about if I take some time myself and do the research myself, so that the information that I have is valid, is true, and is correct. And a lot of times we will not take that effort. We'll take the person's word and then,
Mm-hmm.
run with it. And then, you're running with the football and you're like, okay, which post do I go to? It's
Yeah,
like,
the wrong direction. Mm-hmm.
take the time to learn. Take the time to this is one of the best times right now for someone to study whatever topic that you're passionate about. And you see, I even just wanted to stop for a second and what is marginalized. Before that, it could have been just about Black people.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
No, it's not. You see what I'm saying? It could.
Yeah.
There might be someone thinking it's just a Black underserved poor.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
what you're sharing, it could be because I'm marginalized because I'm tall. I am 5'10". I'm
Mm-hmm.
marginalized because I'm 75 years old. It could be so many other, segment to this
Yeah.
being marginalized, that it's important for us to pause in that moment and really understand the word marginalized in itself. So I mean, that is fantastic. So no,
Yeah.
you were sharing about, in regards to, bringing the people to the group and sharing it with the, with each other, so that they can get, more inspired to see that, what, if that person can do it,
Yes.
I can do it also. I
Mm-hmm.
can do it also.
Yes. It is the just personal story. Your story
Mhm.
is so amazing. I don't care who the you is. That story is so
Everyone.
amazing.
Yeah.
Even the person who might be where Carla was 20 years ago, they have a story that's going to inspire somebody else, and they don't
Hmm.
realize it. And so um, people often say to me, well, okay, I want to come in, but what do I talk about? And I tell them, well, our group members are underserved,
Hmm.
undereducated or
Hmm.
underemployed, overemployed, some of the overeducated and underemployed, unemployed, looking for self-employment opportunities. One of the things is people in our group are ready for a change. Either it is they're forced into making a professional change through underemployment or unemployment, or they're
Mm,
just ready. I've been so miserable in what I do. It's time.
yeah.
And so if you think about that, I just say, think about our group, and think about your own personal journey. And if you were ever overeducated and underemployed, right? If you were
Mm-hmm.
ever miserable at work and yearning for something, what would you have wanted to hear? And then people come and you have a story that needs to get out. I tell people I'm not Oprah, so I don't have anyone yeah, no one could have done the research on Carla and said, these are the 8 questions you ask Carla to get to the meat of it, right? So I say, Carla, what is it that you need to get out? And they say, okay. And they come and they floor us every time. There are a lot of
Mm-hmm.
tears sometimes there. And then we also have where our presenters then become mentors for people in the group. And right now we've been doing it really kind of unofficial, where people just connect and become mentors. We have a 23-year-old in Georgia mentoring someone who's in her 50s in South Africa, okay, virtually. And I love it. But what I want to do is set up a real mentorship program, where we screen and we find out, well, what are you interested in, and we try to connect people in that, for the best
Mm-hmm.
mentor mentee. And that's going to take a little time, but right now I just love that people are connecting on their own.
That's
And
beautiful.
yeah, and it goes across races and gender and sexual. It just, people are just connecting with people who they believe can add value to their lives. And so that's what we're doing. And one thing I'll also say is, when I started the group, I started on 26th of April. Facebook
Mm-hmm.
contacted me because it was a Facebook group. It is a Facebook group. That's where we do most of our work. Although I have founded a local nonprofit in DC, and we're on our way to doing our paperwork with the IRS. And Facebook contacted me, and they said 3 days after I started the group, can we talk? I said sure. So I speak to them, and they say, we love what you're doing, but Carl, I hadn't done anything yet. I had the same 5 members who started with me, right? I just said, we're going to do this. And our name is Corona Daze, DAZE Professional Development Group. And the reason is, at that point, and still now, Corona had the world in a daze. We were just
Yes,
don't know what we're
yes.
going to do, right?